Hi, this is Nerdy Exotical. Welcome to my channel. I want to discuss a specific mindset, particularly one that I think we've abused in Western media with the rise of the anti-hero, and that's the trickster or chaos god or goddess. For example, this is Eris, Greek goddess of chaos or discord. Now, what these figures used to represent is liminal figures who had basically fallen through the cracks of the existing system, or whose very existence pointed out a flaw in the system in a very fundamental way. And they were constantly challenging the system. Like in Greek, I'll use Norse mythology with Loki. Loki stole the gods' apples that kept them young, or Loki would do other things like cut off Thor's wife's hair, things like that challenged the status quo or made them uncomfortable. They represent change, um, and the discomfort of change towards something unknown from something established, which is why they're usually represented in a threatening or subversive way, while also being slightly, I guess, what you would call alluring. Villains also align with this archetype quite a bit. Like if you think of Heath Ledger's The Joker, or Disney's live action version of Cruella, those definitely have the same kind of vibes. These are people who are challenging the status quo, are pointing out that there might be flaws either in the people who are benefiting from the existing system or in the way that things are being conducted. Now, where we have issues with this archetype is if you are going to use this archetype in your thinking, and this plays into like maybe having your villain era when you need to move away from a system or people or an environment or an ideology that's no longer serving you, and you need to put that behind you and go through your villain arc, as they say online, is you need to have something of substance to say. First and foremost, this means taking time to digest why the previous system wasn't serving you. It's easy enough to be like, I'm frustrated, or this isn't giving me everything that I wanted. But before attacking the system itself, I'm just taking that time to digest why and coming up with a means of achieving your vision that exists outside that system. Or you might even find while you're examining that, you were simply using the system incorrectly, and that you actually don't have a fundamental problem with the system. But I would liken this to like in Cruella, if and when she was trying to go against her mother, if she had shown up on the red carpet in like a Temu dress and started posing, it wouldn't have had the same flair to it, obviously, because she wouldn't have had done any work. There wouldn't have been any substance behind her bid for attention. It really would have just been her acting out and looking ridiculous. Another thing is that when you're going towards something that exists outside the system, is it sustainable and healthy? Or is it just as problematic as the system that you're protesting? The Joker kind of points this out when he points out that Batman is actually uh, part of this the same is basically the same as him. They're different sides of the same coin. Because Batman's solution actually is not healthy or sustainable. There's nothing healthy about having an ultra wealthy person running around punching people, doing vigilante justice in a civilized society. And there's nothing sustainable because what happens when Batman ultimately dies? And then there's all these supervillains running around. So even though I haven't read the comic books, I'm just saying this from the movie perspective. Um, as an example, that you need to have a sustainable, healthy solution that meets the needs that you were originally protesting. Another issue is that no, your version of convention isn't necessarily better. Let's say that you actually just want to adopt another system. Then you really don't have any need to protest on the system you're leaving. Like if I'm leaving fundamental Christianity to take up like fundamental Islam or Judaism, I really don't need to try to blow up the existing system because I'm not necessarily saying anything that would benefit anybody else except for myself. I'm not forging a new path, or I'm simply picking up one mantle or one system in lieu of another, if that makes sense. I'm not building anything new or adding anything new to the conversation. So there's really no need for me to do anything except for maybe bring up comparisons onto why I think one system is better than the other. Because there's nothing fundamentally new or particularly noteworthy that somebody else might get, except for maybe in being similar to myself in their circumstances and mindset if they were contemplating a similar change. So that's another issue I see is that sometimes people will jump ship from one version of thinking to another and make it seem like the version that they left was this awful monster when they really just traded one system for another. They didn't really do any, I want to say, like original thinking. It was just a matter of the system didn't work for them, but there was another system that fit them just fine. So those are kind of the faults that I see, and I hope this helped. Until the next video, I hope you move towards a life that you want with intention. Take care.